Members, please take your seats. A question of privilege of the House. The chair lays out HR823. The clerk will read the resolution.
HR823 by Harrison, removing Speaker Dustin Burrows.
Members, please take your seats. Members, before our debate begins, the chair would make a statement about the decorum expected in the chamber. Removal of the speaker by its very nature involves personalities. Proper consideration of such a resolution requires the House to admit references in debate to the conduct of the speaker in executing his duties. This very narrow exception to the general rule against engaging in personalities allows references to the speaker's conduct when the conduct is the exact question the House is considering. While a wider range of discussion is permitted during the debate on such a resolution, the use of personally abusive language is not allowed. Indecent language that is profane or vulgar is also out of order. On the question to be considered by the House momentarily, members must confine the remarks to the merits of the question of whether or not the speaker should be removed from office. Members may not make remarks that constitute personalities with respect to other members whose conduct is not subject to the resolution. The chair expects members will cooperate in maintaining a level of decorum that preserves the dignity of the Texas House and its proceedings. As always, the gallery will abstain from expression of approval or disapproval of today's proceedings. And finally, under Rule 5, Section 38, a member speaking on the resolution may not be interrupted by another member for any purpose at all. All points of order must be submitted in writing to the chair. The chair recognizes Mr. Harrison to explain the resolution, and Mr. Harrison has a 20-minute time limit.
Do not worry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, do not worry. I will not take 20 minutes. This will be brief. I actually think this is a very simple resolution that, quite frankly, many could argue is long overdue. Over 60% of our session is already in the rearview mirror. We were elected to serve the voters of the state of Texas. We were not elected to serve the special interests and the donors that control this building. We have not passed one single legislative priority that the voters who elected the vast majority of this body sent us to do. I don't even think we've voted on a single one of those priorities. And so I could go down the list, but I don't think I have to, the list of reasons that our speaker has disqualified himself and forfeited any moral authority to continue serving as the presiding officer of this body. But y'all are all well aware of his initial betrayal of the voters of Texas when he cut a deal with the minority party to effectively give the minority party control of this chamber. You are well aware of the countless unconstitutional actions where this body was sent home for more than 3 days without a vote and without permission from the Senate. This happened on numerous occasions. You're aware of this. You're all aware of the attempt to conduct House business in violation of the Constitution by standing up in front of a barren chamber and declare dishonestly that a quorum is present. Y'all are aware of all of these problems. And I think in your heart, most of you, especially if you're on my side of the aisle, you know that I'm right about this. And more to the point, you know I firmly believe that your voters know that I'm right about this, not because I'm the one that's saying it. But members, the question before us today, not really, ultimately, is which one of the 150 of us stands up on that dais. But the real question before us today is, who do we work for? There are 30 million Texans, about 200,000 each of us have the custody, the high honor, and the responsibility for being their voice on this floor. Members, especially conservative members of this body, have been routinely silenced. The Speaker's conduct over this chamber has been not just lawless and corrupt, it has been unethical, and his actions have had the effect not just of silencing individual conservatives or Republicans, but they have had the effect of silencing the voices of the millions of Texans that by the very title that we put in front of our names, representative, we are here to represent. I'm not here to fight for Brian Harrison's interest. You're not here to fight for your own interests. Y'all can laugh, you can scoff. No, let them laugh. Let them scoff. Let them hiss.
Members, please maintain the decorum.
Let the voters of Texas hear the vulgarity and the lack of professionalism being demonstrated on this floor right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Texans deserve better than this. And so the real question is, are we going to honor the will of the voters of Texas, who sent an unequivocal message in the last election that they want us to prioritize their freedoms and their liberties? They understand that the only thing we're supposed to do here, and guys, I know you're lied to all the time and said the only thing we have to do here is pass a budget. Yeah, the Constitution does say that. But even before the Constitution, we have to get back to God's law or natural law or whatever you want to reference it, and always conduct ourselves with the number one thing in mind that is actually the role of government. Ladies and gentlemen, the number one role of government, as our founders understood, and they had the foresight to codify into our founding documents, that the number one role of government is not to give us our freedoms and our liberties, but it is to protect our freedoms and our liberties that are inalienable and that they knew are bestowed upon us by our Creator. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost sight of that. The Texas government has lost sight of that for far too many years. We have a well-deserved, for a lot of our history, reputation for leading the nation and the world in freedom and in individual liberty. But for far too long, we have been simply coasting on that reputation. So the choice in this motion, which I have made, to remove a speaker who has betrayed the voters of Texas, who has pushed an agenda not in the furtherance of liberty and freedom and prosperity and the principles that made our country great, of free markets, of private property rights, of low taxes and low regulations. No. Instead, he has chosen to take this body in a hard left direction where we are growing government, we are increasing spending, and yes, that will increase taxes, and we are doing this at a time when perhaps more Texans than ever are being taxed out of their homes. Are you proud of the previous 60% of session? I'm saying this seriously. Are you proud of the legislation that this body has or has passed? Are we proud of spending time suspending the rules on Beyonce resolutions and Pakistan Day and Zoroastrianism? Are you proud of that? My voters aren't, and let me tell you the honest truth, ladies and gentlemen, your voters aren't either. They want us to come here and they want us to shrink government. They want us to cut spending. They want to take power away from the unelected bureaucrats that are regulating our economy into the dirt. They want us to cut their taxes, but they understand we can't cut their taxes until we cut government. And not one bill that this speaker has prioritized cuts government in any way, shape, or form. And if we do not change trajectory right now, with what little time we have left, ladies and gentlemen, when we gavel out, 30 million Texans will be less free than when we gavelled in. That's objectively true. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you not to lock arms with me, because I'm well aware, your jeers and your hisses make it really clear, I'm well aware that I am in an overwhelming minority in this body. But let me assure you, I am speaking on behalf of tens of millions of Texans who have had it and are sick and tired of the failed promises that have been coming out of the Austin swamp for years. So I would respectfully and I would humbly ask that you support the resolution to remove a leader of this body who has prioritized liberalism so that we can finally get a leader in this chamber that reflects the people of Texas and the liberty-loving, hardworking, and overtaxed Texans who are counting on us. We have precious little time left to improve their lives, not because government improves lives, but because government can improve their lives only insofar as we can get government out of their way. Lower the burden of government, lower spending, lower the bureaucracy, cut taxes. So the vote before you is very, very simple. If you vote for this amendment, you are telling millions of Texans you vote for them. Because this is a choice, very simply, between the Austin swamp, or this is a moment to stand up and say that I will choose unpopularity in the swamp, but I will fight for the liberty of the next generation of Texans. I will vote to put the desires and the needs of the Texans that we serve and the voters who sent us here. And I will today stand up and vote for we the people. So I respectfully and humbly ask you to join me in removing Speaker Burrows so that we can put an actual conservative committed to the preservation of freedom and liberty for the next generation of Texans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The chair recognizes Mr. Harris to speak against the resolution. Mr. Harris has 10 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I will not take the 10 minutes because exactly what we're doing with this resolution is wasting the time of the people of the state of Texas. This is a terrible idea, and I move the table.
Order on the floor, please. Excuse me. Mr. Harris has moved to table the resolution. Mr. Harris has moved to table the resolution. The motion to table is not debatable. The chair recognizes Mr. Harrison to close on the resolution. Mr. Harrison closes. Mr. Harris has moved to table the resolution. If you are in favor of the resolution to remove the speaker, vote no on the motion to table. If you are opposed to the resolution to remove the speaker, vote yes on the motion to table. A record vote is required by the Constitution. The clerk will ring the bell. Show the chair voting aye. Show Speaker Burrows voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 141 ayes, 2 nays, 5 present not voting, and 2 absent, the motion to table prevails.